Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today I'm doing my second video in my dollar garage sale bag of fabric scraps. And if you didn't see the first one, I posted that a few days ago, and I just went through the bag of scraps and kind of sorted them into themes and what I thought would be, where I thought they would go together. And I went ahead and made a bunch of journal covers. They're kind of quilted, sort of. They're kind of a applique quilted, where you just, well, you'll see later in this video. I'm going to show you and go through the process of working on these fabrics. I really liked these colors together, so I'm going to make this into a cover at the end of this video, so if you want to stick around for that, you can. But first I wanted to go through the ones that I made already. I made several of them, and I'm going to make them into just one signature junk journal. So, and then I'll have them up in my Etsy shop. So I'll just go through here. So this one is the yellow scheme, and it's going to be bee themed, of course. So I came up with this. Thought it turned out really cute. This is that one. And then I did this one, kind of a green fall sort of colorway. Has this really pretty fabric here that has strawberries on it. So I think with this one I'm just going to do it a color theme, so different colors of green in that book. And then I did two Christmas because I had a bunch of Christmas fabric. There's this one. It's kind of similar to the way I did this one, a little tiny bit different, but, and then this one has the same fabrics in here, well, some of them, and then this one was just a little bit easier. I just did the stripes with the bigger piece in the middle for the spine, and then, yeah, so it turned out, I think they turned out really cute. And then this one is kind of like a patchwork or checkerboard, I guess. And this one kind of turned out, this is the smallest one, but that's just how it ended up. I don't know why, but it's kind of pieced together because I didn't really have, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, I still love how this turned out. It's not quite lined up, but that's okay. Junk journals aren't perfect. But I did that one, and then there's this one, kind of a black and white theme with a little bit of red, a little bit of purple. I just kind of put together all of the black fabrics in here. I need to cut some strings I missed here. And then there's this one. It's a fall themed one. I haven't trimmed it down yet. Still got some jagged edges, but that I kind of just laid fabrics out and didn't completely trim them down before I sewed them, because I know that after they get sewn things move around. So yeah, I still have to trim it off, but I love the way that turned out. And then this one I think is really cute. I'm gonna really have fun doing this one. It has this cute cat fabric in the middle, and then I did some triangle pieces on the left and the right sides here, and I love the colors of the navy and the burgundy. That's cute. And then this one with all the reds, this is more of like a vintage calico theme, floral theme. So, and I did diagonals with this one as well, and then the one up and down in the spine there. Now I'll be sewing these on the edges to whatever paper I'm going to put on the other side. I did a 4th of July, or just like a red, white, and blue United States theme, because it has a Pledge of Allegiance, and there was only like little tiny pieces of this fabric, so that was about, and then I cut the stars out, so I really like how this turned out. And then this is a simple pink themed one, just the stripes. Of course, I will be adding on dimensional like trims and maybe buttons or whatever, charms or things on the covers when I go to put them all together. After I put the signatures in, then I'll add all the other stuff, or like if I put extra trims, I'll sew those on, but more will be coming after, you know, when I put them together. And then the last one was this one here, and I really like how this turned out. I added in the aqua and green into the pinks that were in this one. So yeah, so that is what I made with this. So now we'll go into, I'll show you kind of my process of how I made these using the purple and teal fabrics here, and I'll be doing another video with the rest of putting this book together, and yeah, that'll be fun, so stick around. All right, I'm just going to lay my pieces out here and just start playing around with each one, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So on this one, I cut the two sides off, and I'm going to lay that on top. And then that one is going to layer underneath the middle piece. And I'm just kind of adjusting it so that I have space to put glue down when I go to attach these. And I will be using tacky glue just to put little dots. You'll see that here in a minute, to attach them together, so when I go over to my sewing machine, it's just a lot easier. You can use quilting pins, but with these tiny pieces and the little tiny space that I have to lay them, you know, to connect them, it was just easier to use tacky glue. I didn't quite like the arrangement I had before, so I pulled them apart, as you can see here, and I'm just going in. I wanted to adjust the purple so that it was next to that green center, and then use the other greens to go on the outer edges. And now I'm going to use my purple pieces that I cut off to go along the edges here, and I'll use some smaller of the middle teal piece to go on the sides in the middle of those two purple pieces. So I'm cutting that piece off. I want to extend that onto the side. So now I'm going to use my tacky glue. Just put little dots, not a lot. And I'll just line it up as straight as I can get it, gluing it down. And then do it with each piece as I layer them going across. And then go ahead and do that for the right side pieces. I'll put my two purple pieces on the bottom and top, and then that little teal piece in the middle there. It doesn't quite overlap completely, but that's fine. When I go with the sewing machine, it will be fine. Now I'm going on the other side and adding those pieces. So I'm going to let that dry, And I'll head over to my sewing machine now. I'm using a Brother Project Runway sewing machine. I have it on the number 4 zigzag stitch at a 3.5 inch length. So I'm just stitching actually 2.5 inch length. So it's a little bit tighter. And I'm just trying to adjust the camera here so you can see a little bit more. So I'm going down my full length stitches there first. And I'll do that all the way across the fabric on both sides. Now I'll do my shorter stitches. So that goes to the center, and then I'll do a back stitch and then pull it over and do the second half. I'll cut off all those individual pieces after I'm done sewing. All the threads, that is. So I'll go ahead and do the center stitch there. And then now I'm going to do the little short parts here. I backstitch at the beginning and at the end every time I move. So I just keep turning my fabric and sewing my stitches. So this is kind of a layering quilting, not like a true quilting where there's an actual seam on the back. Now I'm taking my paper, I'm using this collection that I found. It was from Hobby Lobby and I showed it at the beginning here. So I'm just flipping through to see which one I want to use on the inside cover. Thought maybe I wanted that one, but no, I picked this really dark teal. It's plain, but I'll be adding things to it. I'll add pockets and everything. So now I'm just going to mark this and cut it with my paper trimmer. And I'll fold it in half. Now I'm going to cut some of the pattern or the floral patterns to make pockets. So I'll just mark it and trim it with my paper trimmer. And I'll sew on 3 sides to make the pockets. So I'm just going to paper clip this all together and bring it over to my sewing machine. There I have it sewn. Now I'm going to paper clip the inside to the cover and take that over to my sewing machine, and I'll do that off camera again. And I'm just doing the zigzag stitch again all the way around the edges. At the end, I should have used my tacky glue and kind of tacked this down a little bit better because I did end up with the pucker at the end. And I've said the end for so many times, sorry. So now I stitched it and I'm going to trim around. And I'll show you after what I do to make this look a little bit better, because there was that pucker, the fabric got off a little bit so the lines weren't straight, but you'll see what I do to make it appear better. So I'm just going all the way around and clipping off all this excess fabric. You could leave that, I suppose, and make it a little bit more rustic, but I chose to cut it off. Now I'm going to use my rickrack, and as you can see, my lines are going to the right slightly, and you can't really see it that much, but there in the far right corner there is a pucker. So I'm just going to put my rickrack down here, and I tacked it down with a little bit of tacky glue and then went over to my sewing machine and sewed that down. So I'm covering up that pucker, and then now I'm going to go in and add some on the seam lines to make it straighter. So I'll go a little bit over into the green and then kind of line up the rickrack so it's straight. I'm not going to sew those on because that will go through on the other side onto the paper. So the edge I was fine with, but these I'll just glue down. So it definitely helps to add that rickrack, and it just makes it a little bit straighter. And then I decided I just wanted to add it to all three of those seams. And going horizontally, I'll add those too. And now I'm going to add some to the back because I don't want to leave the back out. At first I overlay them, I guess you would say, so they're not perfect along the edges, but I'll go in later after it's dried and clip them off to make them even. All right, so here is my cover. I went ahead, as you saw, used the rickrack to kind of straighten up this front here since it pulled to the side and I had to sew it down there. So yeah, I think the rickrack really added to it, added more texture, and also just kind of straightened out my lines. So I really love how that turned out. Here's how it looks on the inside. And then I'll probably use these two ribbons. They're from the Dollar Tree. They go perfectly with the purple and the teal. So that's probably what I'll tie up the whole thing with. And next time I'll do a flip through of this. I've started gathering papers and things to go inside this journal. So when I have that done, I'll do a flip through. Also, I have all my other journals that are ready to be sewn on. I have all my papers together. I have my ribbons and trims and things like that, and I just need to go under the sewing machine and get those all sewn up and put together in the covers, and then they'll be listed up in my Etsy shop. So that'll be pretty soon here. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.